The devil really exists. What I heard then shook me to the depths of my soul. What exactly did the devil tell Nikola Tesla in his visions? This secret was known to only a few, and Tesla himself never sought to make it public. Only once did he touch upon this topic, in a conversation with Mark Twain, his close friend and one of the most famous American writers. Their bond was rare, deep mutual respect, sincere friendship that lasted until Twain's death. He passed away in 1910th year, at the age of 75. Tesla at that moment was 54. It was a truly extraordinary friendship. It was during that period that Tesla decided to reveal to Twain his most cherished secret. Later, Twain, already on his deathbed, passed these words on to his daughter Clara. He clearly felt the approach of the end. In his works, the image of God is often shown far from bright, sometimes harsh, and sometimes even unjust. Twain himself leaned toward agnosticism. He did not deny the existence of a higher power, but sharply criticized religious institutions, especially Christianity. Many know, in moments of mortal danger, a person almost instinctively turns to God, be it a catastrophe, an accident, or the realization of imminent death. In youth, it is easy to reason about existence and faith, but when faced with death, a person begins to think about what awaits him beyond the threshold of life, on the other side of the so-called Rainbow Bridge. It is not surprising that the conversations between Twain and Tesla often touched on questions of death, faith, and the meaning of existence. During one such conversation, Tesla revealed his secret for the first time and, as it turned out, the only time. No records of this conversation have been preserved. Before his death, Mark Twain, whose real name was Samuel Clemens, retold what he had heard to his daughter Clara. Nikola Tesla was often called an unusual and eccentric man during his lifetime. Even in childhood, he was haunted by strange visions and inexplicable images. He slept extremely little, only a few hours a day, sometimes no more than 2. Tesla himself claimed that ideas for his inventions came to him in the form of sudden insights and inner visions. His memory was astonishing. What he saw once, he remembered for the rest of his life. However, even with such genius, in 1907th year, he faced serious financial problems, including debts for living in a hotel. The implementation of his projects required enormous funds. Tesla's uniqueness was also manifested in his experiments. In Colorado Springs, he often secluded himself in the laboratory, where he connected a high-frequency device to his head and passed powerful electric discharges through his brain. In one of his interviews, he directly said that he passed voltage of the order of 150,000 volts through himself. After such experiments, Tesla would fall into a state resembling lethargic sleep, which lasted significantly longer than ordinary rest. This state resembled clinical death. Metabolism slowed down, but the body continued to maintain vital functions independently, unlike in a coma. Once, while in another inner crisis, torn between failures and financial difficulties, Tesla felt something strange. It seemed to him that he was being watched. A moment later, he clearly realized the presence of an alien mind. The common image of the devil as a horned monster turned out to be false. In Tesla's perception, he appeared in the form of a glowing clump, light of a different density and spectrum, different from the surrounding space. Tesla decided to make contact with this phenomenon. Before him was precisely light. Then the thought came to his mind. In many languages, the name of the devil, in particular Lucifer, means the bearer of light. In the Latin language, lux is light, and ferra is to bear. In Roman mythology, Lucifer was associated with the morning star, Venus, which echoes the ancient Greek image of Phosphorus and the Slavic Zoritzia. Only in a later period of Christian tradition did Lucifer begin to be associated with the fallen angel and identified with Satan. But that is a separate story. Let us return to the main narrative. Intrigued by what was happening, Tesla decided to establish contact with this mysterious light. The response did not take long. The light began to transmit information directly, without words, without sounds, bypassing ordinary forms of communication. It was not a dialogue in the usual sense, rather A colossal stream of knowledge flooded into the scientist's consciousness all at once, as if new connections were instantly forming in his brain. Everything became clear in a single instant. It resembled a blinding flash of insight, when the most complex truths suddenly become obvious. The entity that appeared to him in the form of light turned out to be the devil, but not the caricatured image to which human imagination is accustomed. This devil was one of the angels of God, endowed with a special function, to observe life on earth. He was not an enemy of the Creator. The very idea that someone could rebel against God was erroneous. The devil fulfilled the role assigned to him, staying far from the divine throne. This mission filled him with sadness and a sense of alienation, but at the same time aroused interest in those people who tried to approach God's plan by leaving the limits of the physical body in non-standard ways. He was familiar with encounters with the so-called travelers, those who achieved such a state through deep meditations, severe fasts, and practices that weaken the power of the body over the mind. A strange interaction arose between the devil and Tesla, as if their consciousnesses touched for a brief moment. Tesla felt colossal power within himself and clearly saw what incredible might his inventions could carry. He understood that they could bring benefit to humanity, but at the same time he realized their destructive potential. This realization filled him with fear. At some point Tesla pulled away, and the contact broke off. His body was racked with convulsions, and he felt a blow against a hard surface. Upon regaining consciousness, he experienced the strongest panic. His clothes were completely soaked with sweat. His heart was pounding wildly. Thanks to his exceptional memory, Tesla retained in his consciousness every detail of what had happened, experienced on the border between life and death. Until the end of his days, he returned to this vision again and again in his thoughts. It is known that Tesla had the potential to exert enormous influence on the course of world history, yet this never happened. His ideas, the transmission of energy through the atmosphere, the creation of death rays, were not implemented either in military or in any other large-scale form. He destroyed all his records. There are rumors that technologies of atmospheric electricity were nevertheless used in a number of large cities, but we will not go deeper into this topic now. The devil tried to tempt Tesla, offering him a taste of power and authority. However, according to the scientist himself, he managed to refuse this path in time. That is why today he is remembered as a great genius and not as a destroyer. In his conversation with Mark Twain, Tesla admitted that he believed in God, and in his opinion the devil performs the role of a tester, checking people for steadfastness and exposing their true essence. He also claimed that death is not the end, and that no person who has ever lived on earth disappears without a trace. They all remain here, next to us. Such are the revelations of Nikola Tesla. This story may seem incredible. Among the listeners, there will inevitably be both skeptics and those who find it plausible. But there is a certain grain of truth in these words. People often justify their actions by external forces, referring to the devil and saying, "The demon led me astray." However, all the troubles of this world are committed by the hands of people themselves. No one forces anyone to throw garbage on the street or pass by a hungry animal. Perhaps the devil was sent to earth as a kind of observer, to test us, to check our morality, and to show who we really are. Write in the comments what you think about the words of Nikola Tesla and whether you find them valuable. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. All the best and well-being to everyone.